have very different views on politics and religion and what would be good for the world. The one thing they all agree on is that it's all headed in the wrong direction. Hope is in short supply at the present. Technology seems to be creating more problems than it solves. Storms keep getting bigger. Housing prices get higher. Airline seats get smaller. Oh, you're bringing both shoulders? That'll be an extra $40. The rich build hotels in space because there's nothing on Earth left to conquer. People keep inventing movements to change things, yet somehow everything still looks the same. And Jesus' neighbors feel our pain. Frustration was running high in the first century. Once the Jewish people had had their own country, governed by their values and beliefs. Then it was overrun by a series of empires with different values and ambitions. They'd been praying for centuries that God would fix things and restore their nation, but every revolution failed. And then along comes Jesus, yet another person traveling around telling everyone that a new day, a new dawn is near. A group of leaders come to Jesus and say, "If you want us to believe this is real this time, give us details. When will we get our nation back? What evidence can you show us that things are moving in the right direction?" It's a reasonable question, but there's a real irony to the fact that they're asking it right now to this particular person. This man that they're talking to is God present in a human body, come in person to answer their prayers. He's been traveling around for years now, casting out demons and healing diseases. Which makes this question sort of like your kids asking, "When are we going to get there?" when you're already parked in the driveway. When is God going to start making things better? Well, how about yesterday? How about 3 decades ago, give or take? The change that they've been praying for is happening, but they can't see it. How is that even possible? How can religious experts miss God on the move right in front of them? How can people remain stuck in despair when their prayers are already being answered? These are important questions for all of us. The short answer is they're looking for the wrong things. These people had a base expectation of what it was supposed to look like when God began setting the world right. An expectation that's shared by almost everyone today. When God acts to change the world, nearly everyone assumes that activity will focus on human power centers. When God begins to right the world, everyone will know it. An earthquake will rattle Rome, Jerusalem, London, Washington, D.C. Bad kings and rulers will be immediately dethroned. Someone more righteous will be put in charge. He and his officials will quickly get to work whipping everything into shape. News channels will run 24/7 commentary. Even people in remote rainforest huts will be talking about it. This is the sort of revolution Jewish leaders had been trying to achieve for centuries. It was just that no one had ever been strong enough to pull it off and make it last. Some hoped that Jesus would be the one with enough muscle and charisma and divine backing to finally get it done. But Jesus suggests something else. The global revolution has already started, and we're all looking in the wrong place. And Jesus says, the kingdom of God can't be detected by visible signs. This statement causes a lot of confusion. Jesus isn't saying, don't expect God's work to change anything material. It's just something that happens quietly inside people's hearts. What Jesus is saying is, God's already here and healing things. The revolution has begun. It's just not happening in the headline-grabbing ways and places you expect. Just before this conversation about how God's kingdom shows up, Jesus healed 10 lepers. If you remember what happened in that story, all 10 people experienced a miracle, but only one registered what his recovery said about God's nearness. This perfectly illustrates Jesus' point. Experience isn't everything. How we interpret our experience matters, and that depends on what we're looking for. 9 men saw their lives change for the better, but 1 man saw God's new world arriving. Everywhere Jesus goes, this kind of thing happens. Lepers return to community. The hungry get fed, evil is driven out, wounds get healed, leaders learn to serve, enemies become models of faith. God is close. Real things are happening. Seeds of a different world are being planted and starting to grow. It's just that the people who spend all days refreshing the headlines haven't noticed. While most of the world is focused on the palaces, God is busy changing the world from the side of some country road. Everyone is looking for revolution among princes. But truth be told, princes and palaces are almost always the last thing to move. They'll mostly resist the coming change with everything they've got. But that doesn't mean that God isn't near, that things aren't happening, that some of the gifts of God's future global rule aren't already starting to show up here and now in the present. God is coming to forgotten neighborhoods, showing up in kitchens, changing the fate of lepers, sending evil spirits packing, filling hungry stomachs, making enemies into friends. It's here. It's happening. Don't hang your hopes on the headlines. God likes to move where the camera crews don't. Let's hear this in Jesus' own words in Luke 17, verses 20 and 21. One day the Pharisees asked Jesus, "When will the kingdom of God come?" Jesus replied, "The kingdom of God won't be detected by visible signs. You won't be able to say, 'Here it is,' or 'It's over there,' for the kingdom of God is already among you." I'm Meghan Larissa Good, and this is Reading Jesus. Thanks so much for joining me for a few minutes in Luke, and I'll see you next time.